My granddad bought it in the 20s, but it was started by William Reynolds.
I started here in 1971.
It's very nostalgic, yeah, it definitely takes you back coming back here somewhere like this.
We made tools to do jobs.
He was a wily character then.
Yes, he was a character. He was firm, but he was fair, like, you know.
Yeah, he did. He worked to the day he died.
It was a really special experience.
Yeah, we get all sorts of jobs. You just never know what's going to come through the door. William Reynolds was a cartwright, as far as I know, and he had all this built and the houses, and then Mr. Pointer took over after that. And he carried on as it was. Then Grandad bought it off him in 1922 or something like that. Then it just carried on as it was, but of course all that horse transport disappeared after the war. Dad took over in about 1940, just after the war, I think.
I think Grant started about 2 years before me. We both worked together an awful lot. With his dad, it was a really special experience.
He was a wily character then. I didn't really have a lot to do with Den, where we used to clash a little. So that's why I used to do more with Grant, really. But yeah, Grant was always sound as a boss. He always used to look after us, bless him, because Den was very old-fashioned back in the day.
Yes, he was a character. Yeah. He was definitely a good guy. He was firm, but he was fair, like, you know. He was a fair bloke, like, you know. If you made a mistake, you you knew about it. yeah. Depending how silly a mistake you made, like, but yeah. There was myself. Graham was the same age. He was a Farrier Blacksmith like me. There was another lad round about the same, but he just done the blacksmithing. There was Grant. There was Den, his old man. Jeff Kane, who was probably 15 years older than myself. He was a senior farrier. And Gus, who was in his 60s, he was like the main, and he was a great fella, he was. There was also 2 other chaps doing the welding, fabricating down here. So it was close to about 10 or more used to work here. Like.
Yeah, it was all a bit frantic. It was quite fun when there's a lot of you, all the banter, but and we got a lot more jobs done, but especially the horses, there was 6 of us on the horses, I think, at one time. When I started in '64, it was probably 80% of the business, I think, because there were so many, and there's very few farriers around at the time, but since then there's been a lot more farriers around.
But the apprenticeship was the hardest thing to get. If you could get an apprenticeship, you were very lucky. It was always the apprenticeship, because there were so many farriers, people that wanted to be farriers, but not a lot of people that were trained farriers, and it's quite a grueling number, so a lot of people don't last very long, get injured, you know, have bad backs. There was a couple of lads that started here, and then after they were qualified, a couple of years after, were retired from the job because their back couldn't cope with it, etc. So,
but they all trained here, then they left after and started their own businesses. But then, of course, the horse transport disappeared, so they went more to the blacksmithing fabrication side. And then, and the horse trade did die away quite a bit in the 50s. But then people got more affluent and riding ponies. Because years ago, a normal person couldn't have a riding pony, they're too expensive. But in the 60s, people did become more affluent, didn't they? So they could afford to buy their kid a pony. Because they used to be tethered all over the common down at Golford.
There was agricultural work, welding and stuff. I mean, the main agricultural blacksmiths, what I call like farm machinery, would be Gerald Dawes, which was over right cross line. They were like they did Farrier as well, like, so they were like our rivals. Good rivals, like, you know. But then we do like the welding repairs of, we didn't do the mechanic, like the engine tractor repairs or anything like that, but we do welding and stuff like that.
When I started in the 60s, that forge, and the one next door going all the time, but we like this one probably once every 2 months now. It's just the way it's changed, We can buy stuff in cheaper than you make it. We still get an occasional old lady come down with a sauce when the handle's dropped off. Could we fix it? It's just not worth it, Because people don't tend to appreciate a blacksmith, how long it takes. And they don't realise even straightening something, you've got to get hot in the fire, then get it down and bash it, and then back in the fire again. They think you can do things just so simply.
But looking around the place, I've got a lot of memories of stuff that's happened in here over the years, from injuries to funny moments. But it's very nostalgic. It definitely takes you back coming back here somewhere like this.
Yeah, I done my apprenticeship here, and it set me on the road to, it was good schooling. It made you used your head how to fabricate things, You didn't always have the best drawings in the world. It was like a matchbox sometimes, or
It was a marvellous way to learn the apprenticeship. It taught you experiences beyond what anyone can normally imagine. It learnt me to manage to do jobs that you wouldn't normally do, things that were problems. You didn't have drawings, you managed to do something. There's something on the back of a fag potato, a fag packet. Yeah, it was good. It was really, really a marvellous way to learn a trade.
I don't really know what I would have done if Dad wasn't a farrier, because I didn't know what to do really when I left school. But he said, "Sorry, come and work here." And I thought, well, I'll try it. And I found I seemed to adapt to the horses quite well, because I always like working with animals. So, and there is something nice about working with horses. Yeah, he kept saying, the business will soon be yours. I went on for another 30 years after it. I was 65. So I was due for retirement anyway.